Ed and Lorraine, the exorcist couple, are at a pawn shop listening to a client. She says that it might be haunted. It happened since the owner passed away, and she began to feel someone's presence. They reach to inspect. However, Ed advises her not to go deeper since she is pregnant. But she doesn't worry and proceeds until heading to a mirror covered with a curtain. She removes it, and soon, the body of the owner appears behind her. She looks back, but there's nobody. She slowly touches it, and it immediately cracks. She sees her reflection is possessed, and she instantly feels the push of the baby. They rush to the hospital, and the doctors witness a lot of bleeding. Lorraine continues witnessing the demons. She is asked to push, and after constant attempts, the baby finally comes out. However, it doesn't cry. They try their best, but nothing happens. They give it to her with an apology. The couple hugs the baby, and Lorraine still keeps on praying for her. After a minute or so, the baby miraculously starts to cry. They are relieved, and the doctors are happy as well. Years later, the story moves to the Smurl family, whose house is in chaos as it's one of the sisters, Heather's birthday. At dinner, she is given a gift by her grandfather, and is none other than that mirror. He says he has found it in an antique shop, and it looks exotic. She doesn't like it very much, but at least pretends to. It's time for the cake, and once it's on the table, the candle is blown out even before Heather does anything. She blames it on her sister Dawn, who claims she hasn't done anything. Soon, the ceiling light breaks in out of nowhere, and a piece of glass cuts up her head. Ed and Lorraine are giving a speech on paranormal research in a college where their grown daughter Judy is also present. But the kids don't take them seriously anyway. They have retired from exorcism a long time ago, and now, as the family sits together for dinner, Judy reminds Lorraine about Ed's birthday coming. She says she will bring her boyfriend, Tony. Ed doesn't approve of him very much, but agrees anyway. Moments later, as Ed is busy checking the menu, Lorraine feels a horrible presence around. She hears mumbling and realizes that it is Judy who chants this when she has a panic attack. She consoles her, and Judy calms down, but a hand caresses her from behind. She gets startled and hasn't noticed anything and asks her about it, but she replies, "It's all good." Inside the Smurl family, while Janet is busy doing household chores, she is shocked to find the mirror in the living room. Moreover, a doll is beneath it playing its record. She moves it away and goes to the basement, where she is startled to find a figure standing. Slowly, she moves to turn on a light, but it is merely a picture. She gets up and chats with her friend on the phone as her kids are playing around. She eventually feels a pull on the cord and thinks it's her children, but there seems to be nobody. However, it is soon released, and she returns to the chat. Soon, another pull tug away the phone entirely. She scolds her kids, but they are outside playing. The phone gets further pulled in. The nearer she goes, the more it is pulled in, and she instantly goes to turn on the light, but there is nothing. Meanwhile, the kids are playing in the room, and one of them finds the doll roaming around. She tries to get it as it slowly rises in the air. She looks back and sees a harrowing woman holding it on her face. She screams and runs, and the doll falls down. By the evening, everyone returns home, and they are all together. Later, as Heather and Dawn are in their room, they talk about how the mirror is really creepy. They decide that they should get rid of it. Together, they bring it down and drop it in the trash. The next morning, the trash car comes, takes it in, and crushes it. On the breakfast table, Dawn suddenly starts to feel sick, which quickly turns into vomiting blood. After a lot of sprawling, she finds a piece of glass in her mouth. Back to the Warren family. On the occasion of Ed's birthday, Judy brought in her boyfriend, Tony. He is a little nervous about whether they will like him or not. He enters the house and is introduced to them. He is also introduced to Father Gordon. Later, as Tony is getting introduced to more guests by himself, Judy is in her room. Soon, she starts sensing everything around her turning dark. Behind her, the easy chair was moving with the Annabelle doll over it. She keeps her courage and continues chanting that it isn't real. It disappears. She is further scared as Tony gets in. He comforts her as Lorraine comes in. After he leaves, Lorraine asks her what's going on, for she can sense that she is having the panic attacks more often. She replies that there is nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, Ed asks Tony for a game of table tennis, and they spend some time playing. Later, as Lorraine comes in, Tony hesitantly asks them for something. He brings out a ring. He wishes to propose to their daughter and needs their approval and blessings. Lorraine likes it, but Ed has some double thoughts. He says that he can then try again in a week, and just then Judy walks in. Trying to hide the ring, he drops it, and she asks if it's for her. It certainly is, and she happily accepts. After the evening, as all the guests have left, Father Gordon is the last one. He tells them about the Smurl family incident, and they need someone to help them. However, they have no intention to return to exorcism and reject the request. In the Smurl family, Dawn is freaking out, asking her father, Jack, to move away from this haunted house as soon as possible. However, even if they want to, they can't, for they can't afford it at the moment. Dawn angrily leaves the table. At night, as Jack goes to bed, he is horrified by the vision of a demonic woman in his bed. He soon gets possessed and falls on the bed. Gradually, he starts to rise in the air, and the demon is above him. Meanwhile, Heather, unable to fall asleep, plays the recording of her birthday. Just as she is going to cut the cake, she notices something. She reverses and pauses. She misses the frame constantly, but when she is finally able to pause at the right moment, she is horrified. Is a demonic figure by her. She looks up, and a car passes by on the road. She looks behind, and there is an axe over the table. Suddenly, someone comes, grabs, and lunges at her. She screams and skips, but it attempts to get closer. Her screams wake Janet up, and she sees her husband in the air. He instantly drops, and she runs downstairs. Heather is there, terrified, but there's no body. The next day, the press comes there, and it turns into news. They are asked for interviews, and people crowd around their house. However, they don't get any real help. Lorraine has brought her daughter to buy a wedding dress. The caretaker takes her to the mirror room to show the dress. However, she soon gets a call from outside and goes out. Judy, alone in the room, tries to tug the dress, but she notices that one of the reflections is not moving. She gets horrified, but soon leaves a sigh of relief as the door opens, thinking the caretaker has returned. But she doesn't respond to her question. She soon realizes someone's crawling from inside the dress. It's another demon. The light soon gets turned off, and she sees it crawling towards her. She screams once again, chanting it's not real. The demon gets closer until the light is turned on. She is relieved, but then again, one of her reflections taunts her. It breaks through the glass and grabs her throat. She somehow gets rid of it, and this time, Lorraine and the caretaker barge in. The Smurl family is still surrounded by the press, as the grandmother has gotten sick. Father Gordon has come there to assist them. He chats with Janet and starts to spread holy water all around the house. Then he goes to the basement. As he splashes the water there, it starts to burn. When he notices it, he gets out terrified. He says that he has to leave for the church, for this is something far dangerous. He rushes to the church, and the receptionist asks him to wait for the bishop. As he sits, he smells something fishy on his hand, and further, the electrical cord is being slowly pulled by somebody. He soon hears its sound, and as he looks back, the receptionist isn't there. He gets up, feeling an eerie presence. Soon, the phone rings. As he picks up, it's Judy's voice on the other side, who says that you can go now. He sees that one of the doors is slowly opening. It crushes open, and as he rushes to the other side, he gets locked in. The room begins to get dark, and he immediately brings out his cross. He prays against it, but the demon burns it. He has to let go of it. Then something possesses him. He gets out, takes the cord, and uses it to his own demise. At his funeral, Lorraine gives a heartfelt speech. Before everybody leaves, Judy stops to touch the coffin. She senses a demonic vibe along with it. Later, she stops to ask one of the fathers where the incident happened, and he replies Pennsylvania, at the house. As Lorraine is washing the sink, she finds the water clogged. After trying to look for the issue, she brings out a locket with Judy's picture in it. She then sees that the whole sink is filled with blood, which eventually overflows. Ed comes and puts her out of this vision. She realizes there is something wrong with Judy and runs to look for her. However, Tony says that she has left for Pennsylvania to Smurl family. They quickly drive there and see that the whole house is crowded. They somehow get themselves into the house. Immediately enough, Lorraine feels a strange presence everywhere. Judy is there. They instantly try to take her away. Judy stops them, saying they should help the people who need them and not run away from them. Moreover, they are the ones who taught her that. They think about it and decide to help them. They sit together at the table to get a grasp of the whole situation. The crowd begins to thin out, and they settle themselves in the house. The next morning, Judy documents the events at the house on her camera. She finds her mother standing alone. As she gets closer, they hear a strange noise coming from upstairs. She heads up, and Judy notices the doll wriggling towards her. However, one of the kids comes and picks it up. Lorraine checks up the room, and then goes downstairs. She soon hears voices and feels a strong presence. Later, she tells Ed that there are 3 spirits in the house. They never lived here but lived on this land. This was farmland, and there was a tormented woman. She had an affair, and her husband went insane. He took an axe and went after her. She hid in the basement with her elderly mother, and the husband killed them both. Ed wonders what is different here since they have witnessed violent manifestations before. She says that there's still something hiding behind them, is controlling the spirits and using them against the family. However, both of them are confused, not knowing what it really wants. Inside the house, Judy hears a call from her mother, and she gets up, but there is nobody there. Rather, she sees the way to the attic is open. She thinks her mother is there and proceeds, but it's all quiet, and after checking in with a flashlight, she comes across the mirror. She touches it, and a chalk roll from under it. Afraid, she falls back and notices that on the roof wall, it is written, "Miss me?" She realizes it is Annabelle. Soon, the chair appears behind her, creaking. Things start to fall apart. She quickly comes down and tries to run, but someone calls her name from behind. She goes to her room, but it's empty. The Annabelle doll is lying there, and gets up and grows bigger and bigger. It chases her, and Judy falls from the stairs. The parents rush, and Judy says that there is something in the attic. They reach there and find the mirror, and the memories come by. Later, as the family sits together, they tell them how they have seen the mirror as well. Meanwhile, Judy starts to feel sick. Ed decides to take the mirror home with Tony. Lorraine takes care of Judy. They wear gloves, cover the mirror, and tie it up with belts. Ed and Jack decide to take it while Tony goes to get the car ready. The more they carry it, the heavier the mirror gets. Ed says it's normal and continues. However, soon, the belts start to come out. After both of them go off, the cover is also thrown away. Ed asks him not to look at it, but he does anyway and sees the reflection of the spirit. He can't turn his head around and he falls down. Ed cannot bear the weight anymore, and the mirror falls over Jack's toes. Meanwhile, Judy has also begun bleeding from her nose. Tony has finally managed to start the car, but soon the spirit comes before him and he crushes. Lorraine, at the house, suddenly finds herself alone and sees that Judy is not in her bed anymore. She is sitting on a corner, coughing. She starts chanting something weird and gradually looks at her. She is all possessed. The demon inside her says that they have been waiting for a long Judy to return to them. Just then, she sprints at her. She pushes her off the stairs in the basement and locks her in. Ed is still trying to move the mirror with Jack, while the two sisters come across demonic Judy. Tony has come in and asks for her. The rest of the family has also come down. As the dog continues barking, the demon lifts it in the air and crashes it against the wall. Judy then moves her focus to Ed. She knocks him to the wall and walks up the stairs. Tony is unable to get in, and he races to the basement. Lorraine wakes up as the axe spirit comes down to hunt her. She hides behind the stairs and is startled to come across the wife's school. The man then smashes her head with the axe. Lorraine falls back, but he continues attacking her. She falls into a pool of blood, and just then, Tony gets in. He comes in to save her. Ed somehow gets rid of the suffocation. He tells Janet to take Jack and the kids to get out of the house. They all go out, and Lorraine and Tony also come up. She tells Ed that it always has been Judy. Lorraine takes her handbook, and they all run to find her in the attic. Judy is there hanging. However, before Tony can rush to her, his leg gets stuck. Ed takes a knife from him and attempts to cut the rope, while Tony somehow gets a hold of her legs. He manages to cut it, and they all fall down, breaking the ceiling. Judy has lost consciousness. Ed does CPR on her, and then Lorraine sees her reflection in the mirror, a little too eerie. At that moment, Ed starts to have palpitations. Tony continues with the CPR, and she eventually wakes up. The mirror then starts to rise in the air. In no time, it starts to move very fast. Ed grabs the book and starts to chant at it. The mirror stops and falls. It gets stuck with the railings and gradually moves towards him. The ladder also goes up. Ed sees that his reflection is taken over, and the book starts to burn. He still manages to hold off as much as possible. Ed is crushed under it. Judy puts her hand on it as well, and all three of them push with their force. Judy chants the final words that they are not there, and the spirits are jerked away. It's all quiet, and they finally drop the mirror. Eventually, all of them go out, keeping the family at ease. Ed adds the mirror to their collection. Eventually, Judy gets married to Ed, and all four of them continue with their happy family life. You were watching the recap of the 2025 movie The Conjuring: Last Rites. For more recaps like this, stay subscribed to the channel. Until then, you may also enjoy this.